Hi there, and welcome to the next in our series of practical simulator sessions. Now, we've been looking over the last couple of videos at the Association of Ringing Teachers Learning the Rope scheme, and in the first two videos we looked at the first two parts of that scheme, parts 1 and 2. In this video we're going to start looking at level 3 of learning the ropes. All of the details are in this ART handbook called the Teacher's Guide to Learning the Ropes, and what we're going to do is look at the third part of the scheme and how a dumbbell and a ringing simulator can help you to practice and achieve the parts that you need to within the Learning the Ropes 3 scheme. So this potentially is a quite long session, so consequently what I'm going to do is actually divide it in two. In this video we're going to look at the first two parts, one of which is covering, and secondly we're going to look at plain hunt, and then in another video I'm going to do items 3 and 4, which are learning when you're learning to count places and also how to improve your rope sight. So the setup I have here, obviously we have our dumbbell. I'm using Virtual Belfry. It's my simulator of choice, and within there we're going to look at the options that we can use and how we can to achieve what we need to for LTR 3. So the first part we're going to look at in this video is covering. Now, covering is simply a case of your bell staying in the same position, usually the tenor, also called tenoring behind, and you're going to provide a cover to the simulator that's actually ringing a method or plain hunt or another exercise. So you're always going to stay as the last bell in the sequence. Now, with the simulator we can do this very simply. If we have a look at the screen, we've got 6 bells here. At the moment bell 3 is selected. What we're going to do is change that to bell 6, so we're going to bring in bell 6. We've set the simulator to run plain hunt doubles, so consequently we can stay in 6th place. To start, all we have to do, that's all you have to do to set up. So to start, I have the foot switch and we simply start in rounds. And what we're looking for here is good rhythm and accuracy of striking. So in rounds it's very easy to hear the bell, and then when we start plain hunt,
go plain hunt. That's all. Stand.
Okay, so that's covering behind plain hunt, but of course it's, if you want to do something more complex, you could select any of the doubles methods here. So we could select April Day, I've got here, plain bob, plain hunt, St Nicholas, St Osmond, all of them. Whether you know them or not, it doesn't matter, because you're just going to be covering behind. Now, of course, we're ringing 6 bells. You can then change and move up to 8 bells simply by changing the number of bells you have here, and then change to a triples method. So we could do Stedman triples, for example. You're just basically ringing as bell number 8 for Stedman triples, and you'll just stay in 8th place all the time. So the simulator gives you a really easy way of covering behind. Now, if you're new to covering, then you may want to look at staying on a small number of bells, so 6 or 8. If you're more experienced, then you can go to 10 or even 12 bells, because the simulator gives you the ability to ring with a perfect band. So when you're covering, if you're ringing a method, if we go back to our 6 bells and go to plain bob, for example, which you actually will learn in Learning the Ropes Part 4. On here you can tenor behind, and you can actually set it to do a plain course initially, and you can see how the bells come towards you as the tenor, and then you can change it and you can add in bobs and singles, either as a structured touch or as random bobs and singles, because randomizing the ringing that's happening means that you don't get into the same touch all the time, so familiarity is not a problem. And you can use this to practice as much as you want, all the way up to, if you want to, ringing a quarter peal. So you can ring a quarter peal tenoring behind, which will ensure then that you're practicing concentration as well. Now, of course, when you're tenoring behind, you're concentrating potentially on the bells that are directly in front of you, but it's also a great way of learning to count your place, because you're always the last bell, in this case in 6th place, so consequently you can be in your head counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, giving you the counting in your head and the places as you go, which will stand you in very good stead when you start moving to plain hunt. So that's the basics of covering. There are a few other things that you can do with the simulator. Interestingly, if you want to improve your hearing or your listening skills, then you can simply cover the screen. Or if you want to just concentrate on your own bell, if we go to the ropes view, we can see the ropes here. There is an option to show your own rope when ringing. So in this case, what will happen is that when you're ringing, you'll find that your bell is also visible. So if we So this is the start of shadowing, so you can actually follow what your bell on the screen is doing.
Stand.
So that's another option, and then what you can also do is turn off the option that says show other ropes when ringing, and in this case your bell will now be the only one that's shown when you start. So you have to listen for the first pull. So here you can now concentrate . And this technique is really useful when we start looking at plain hunt, which we'll do in a moment.
Stand.
Because you can actually set one of the your working bell then and actually follow the speed movement. So if we now reset this, so we show all the ropes, and we'll turn off our rope when ringing, go up to the main, and we'll change the method to plain hunt doubles, and this is just going to do one course. Keep going here is set to 0, so we're going to do one course of plain hunt. And of course, when you start learning plain hunt, you're naturally learning the 3 speeds of ringing. So you're learning to hunt in, you're learning to hunt out, you're learning to make places when you're at the back, and of course you'll then can add to that the ability to learn to lead. And the beauty, of course, with the simulator is the fact that you can ring this for hours to practice until you've got the rhythms in your head, and you can then expand onto 8 bells again, 10 bells, 12 bells, or go down to 4 bells and adjust the speeds until you can your striking is really, really good. So within the learning the rope scheme, one of the things that you are asked to do is to consider places. Always refer to places, don't refer to bell numbers. Now there's lots of techniques where people will learn the ropes that they're following for plain hunt, but generally if you can learn the places and get a student to learn the places, then that can really stand them in very good stead when they come to ring basic methods, of which obviously the most basic is going to be plain hunt. So as a start, using the shadowing technique that I showed you a minute ago, so leaving your bell on the screen. So if we do plain hunt and we decide we're going to ring bell number 5 this time, we've got plain hunt set up. If I make it so that my own rope stays there, I'm now going to be shadowing the 5 on the screen.
Go, plain hunt. That's all. Stand.
Okay, you obviously can see it's quite difficult thinking, talking and ringing at the same time, but it's a skill that that is useful to learn. Okay, so we've got the basic plain hunt there. We can, if we want to do it listening, again as we did before, we can take it down to just our bell. So that's all you see on the screen. So that's an advanced form of shadowing. And then if I just turn this off again, so I want to not show my rope when ringing, but I want to show everybody else's. And then there are some other options that we can use to vary the plain hunt. And one of those is going to settings and selecting whole pull changes. Something a bit different, where you will do a hand stroke and a backstroke for each position. So we'll do hand stroke and backstroke in 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place. So it's 2 strokes to every position. That can help with your places, purely because you've got that little bit more time to register the place that you're in. And you can then, of course, use the striking display to see how you're getting on as far as accuracy of your striking is concerned. I don't particularly want to look at the striking on the last one, but if I look at the blue line, you can see here that the gold shows my striking fairly late on some. I tend to be late rather than early looking at this, but you can use that feedback to improve your striking. And of course in the history it will tell you what you've done, and it will give you a standard deviation and a mean value as well, which you can use to check against your previous performances. Okay, so when you're practicing plain hunt, you want to try and not get stuck on just one bell. There is a tendency in a lot of towers that, that I always ring the 4 or I always ring the 2. So use the simulator so that you can actually do whatever method plain hunt on every single bell, including tenoring behind it, because tenoring is very important as it creates the rhythm for the whole performance. So the simulator in this case is great because it gives you an awful lot of time that you can basically practice. Another thing that people tend not to do until later is actually determining when they're coming to the end of a lead. So one of the things you can do here is if you turn down the voice and we slide that back to 0, you now won't hear the voice commands. So as a student or as a teacher, you can get your student to actually call go, and also to call that's all at the end of the touch. So it gets them into the idea of being involved with the whole performance. So I'd certainly recommend that you give that a go, and do that with any methods that you're ringing at any time. Okay, so I think that's as far as we need to go at the moment on the first part of Learning the Ropes Part 3. Hope this has been useful. If it has, then please subscribe, of course, to the channel. And if you've got any comments, please leave them below and I'll get those answered. Or of course you can send me an email. I'll be more than happy to receive feedback on anything we do. And I'll see you very shortly in the second part of Learning the Ropes Part 3. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon.